Hey, it's Jason from McMahon Films. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. We've got an incredible lineup of programming here, and we're constantly working on new projects that I can't wait to share with you. Everything we produce here at McMahon is built to inspire, connect, and spark real conversation. So stick around, there's so much more coming. And hey, go ahead and hit subscribe now before you forget.
Do it.
Take the sting higher, take the sting higher, I'ma blow up. You don't know what it takes, so you wanna be great, but do you really know what it stakes? Do you know what it means to me?
What's up, everybody? Today is Thursday, July 24th. We're only a couple days away from the trade deadline in the major leagues. I'm Tristan Thornhill. To my immediate virtual right is the one, the only Jack Glennon. And yes, you are indeed watching The Hitting Cage. Jack, before we go any further, how are you, my friend? How was life overseas? Still over there? How are you?
I'm doing okay, man. Anytime that I get to step into the cage with my buddy, my partner, and my pal, Tristan Thornhill, the great guy on my virtual left, so we're actually not synced up this time.
No.
I'm doing good. I'm good. It's good to be here with you. And yes, I am still very much overseas. I will be for another 3 weeks. I'm still in the great Republic of Greece. And so I will be moving to Switzerland in a few days and then Italy after that.
You going to Switzerland and Italy on me? I didn't know that.
I am. And then I'll be recording our last episode of the Intercontinental Split from Italy.
Nice.
How are you, my brother? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm on vacation. I'm currently in the great state of Tejas, man. How you doing?
Oh boy.
Pleasure to be here. You don't like this, do you? You don't. I knew you weren't gonna like that. I'm in the great state of Texas, a little bit outside of Dallas, Texas, right now. Gonna get to go see a Ranger game at Globe Life Field tomorrow, so that's gonna be fun. Staying with my friend. I'm staying in her dad's Kiss themed room. It's actually insane how much like rock and roll,
like the band
he had. Yes.
I love that.
Signed guitars, posters, their
awesome.
boots, masks, all kinds of stuff. And I saw some Black Sabbath stuff out near his record player.
He's got good taste.
It made me so sad because of Ozzy dying earlier this week. And then today we lost Hulk Hogan. Like, what's going on, man?
Somewhere Nick Castellanos is hitting home runs.
He's not wrong. It's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. He's not wrong. But other than that, man, I'm good. First and foremost, welcome everybody to the Hitting Cage. Make sure if you guys like what you're saying, you hit the like button. You make sure you follow us on everything and go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well here on YouTube. Follow everything Makash, follow everything me and Jack. We'd love for y'all to keep updated with us as we go through this crazy time that is the trade deadline. And we all know that the trade deadline in the major leagues is a huge, jumping off point. It's pretty much where the season starts. You could argue that this is where the season starts. Like, if you weren't ready, you better be now. And we're coming up fast on that July 31st deadline, and teams are scuffling. And there's a lot of holes on a lot of teams that need to be filled. Frankly, some teams I feel like there's not enough, value out on the market right now for them to plug every hole. I mean, you talk about a bunch of this first place teams skidding. You look at the Tigers, they've skid. You look at the Yankees, they're skidding. You look at the Dodgers, they're skidding. But your Giants have been nowhere to be found to, put any pressure on them.
Neither have the Padres.
I want to see, out of all these teams that were skidding, where do you want to start? We have the Dodgers, who lost 6 in a row. It might have been 6 or 7 in a row this past week. You have the Tigers, who lost, I want to say, 6 in a row. The Yankees going up and down. They come out of the break after losing to the Cubs. But then they had a feel-good series right before that, and then they come out and they have a feel-good series against the Braves after dropping the first game. And then they lose a series to Toronto, who they need to get ground on. The Mets scuffling, they're kind of like the Yankees, up and down, up and down. But then the Phillies are not putting any pressure on them. They've also been scuffling. So where on those teams do you want to start?
Tristan, I'm going to go ahead and start in the AL East out your way with the Yankees, because to me, this is a big problem. You look at the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, you look at all the teams in this division except for the Orioles. They're getting hot. The Rays look good. The Boston Red Sox just finished off a 10-game win streak. The Toronto Blue Jays just swept the San Francisco Giants in Toronto, albeit, but still, this is a team that has been hot for months. So, I mean, you look at these teams in the American League East, and as terrible as it sounds to say it, if this continues, there is a real and genuine path for the Yankees to finish fourth in that division. Because
that's a bit of a stretch.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could, because look at the Rays. The Rays have been solid all season, not blowing anyone away, not blowing anyone out.
Yeah, but
they looked good all year. The Red Sox are getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, but the Red Sox are scuffling now too. They won 10 or 11 in a row, and now coming out of the break, it seems like they've kind of hit the brakes, and now you see a bunch of names.
But you can afford to if you've won 10, 11 in a row.
Well, the Red Sox don't know if they're sellers or buyers at the moment. I mean, I would hope. I'll take my Yankee cap off for a minute and just talk baseball. And you want to see competition in the AL East. You would hope that the Red Sox would be buyers. You would hope, but you don't know in today's market.
But let me tell you right now,
market's going to be.
Let me tell you right now. They don't know if they're buyers or sellers, but 2.5 weeks ago, they were guaranteed sellers, okay? So they're in a good position relative to where they've been the rest of the season.
I think what Jack was just about to get to there was
spiraling.
The Red Sox were looking like they were going to be guaranteed sellers. And while I do agree with that, I think that you've seen a resurgence from these guys. I think we just got Jack back, and I'll let you finish your point now. What we've seen from the Red Sox, like I think you were about to say, is they called up all their kids and they're letting them develop in the major league, area. I can't get a better word. I don't know what's wrong with me today. They're letting them develop in the majors and prove what they're worth, so that if they ended up being sellers, you can see what their young talent is like, and possibly promote that to other leagues, to other teams. Now, Jack, go ahead and finish your point. I think I captured what you were going to say.
Yes, sorry about that. What I was saying was, look, the Boston Red Sox, they're in a better position than they were a couple weeks ago. That's a fact. My point is they start to spiral again now, but they were spiraling a lot earlier in the beginning of the season. And you think, the Red Sox guaranteed sellers are 7-8 games below 500. They trade Devers. Now they're really going to be sellers. But this team has really kind of put it together since trading their best player. I don't know why that works or how that works, but sometimes you just need to get rid of the guy in the locker room who's causing a lot of problems, and it seemed that Rafael Devers was that way.
You just answered the question, and it hasn't been a problem for the Giants, even though they haven't gone with Rafael Devers. But you don't hear nearly as much when it comes to drama with the Giants. He's settled into that first base role pretty well. Somebody even asked him the question, I want to say yesterday, again, recording this on Thursday, July 24th, about how he feels about being in the field and how it affects his hitting. He goes, I don't like being a DH. When I'm on the field, it keeps me prepared. It keeps me fresh. It keeps me ready. I don't have to worry about the next at-bat, which you look around the entire league, DH is, man, where would we be sitting if the universal DH wasn't a thing? Man, would he still be rotting in Boston, miserable, and the Red Sox clubhouse, a furnace for a hot fire? But who knows? I want to pivot. We can talk Yankees more a little bit down the line, because I know we want to talk about what that third base option is going to look like for them. But I want to talk a little bit about this Mets-Phillies in the NL East. Why have the Phillies have had pressure on the Mets all season long. And as both teams sort of scuffle, the Phillies, I think, came back and beat the Red Sox last night, if I'm not mistaken. There's only a half game separating the two. And the Mets have not been on fire by any means. They haven't. And you can ask any Mets fan. It's whoop, 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 whoop. It really is. And it's a trend throughout baseball. So, and I say this to Yankees fans and Mets fans. You sit there and you tell me about your teams being so ass, or, they can't get over the hump. This team gets in its own way. And, man, we can't, this is a down year in the MLB and we just can't take advantage of it. It's going on everywhere. It really is. Look at the Tigers. They had a huge lead. Now Milwaukee's in first. Look at the Mets. They have Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, and a pitching team that nobody thought would be possible, but they actually have decent pitching and are probably going to get stronger as they get guys back. Yet they only have a half-game lead. Look at the Yankees. The Yankees had a 7-game lead on Toronto, but have now sacrificed it and are down 5 games in the AL East. So my question to you, Jack, is Is this like one of the greater baseball seasons you've seen? The fact that no one is, a commanding favorite, and you can't even say the Dodgers are like oh, it's gonna be the Dodgers. I mean, it's like it might be just because of pure talent, and they'll get clicking in the postseason, but they haven't blown the socks off of anybody. So, is this more compelling to you now, or would it be better if there was like three slugfest teams?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. For me, the problem is, like you mentioned, with these teams like the Giants out west and the Padres. Look, the Dodgers are skidding, and yet the Giants and Padres can't make up any ground. The Mets are skidding, and yet the Phillies can't make up any ground. So my point is, what makes it that way? Why is it so that these teams look good all year? The Giants look good all year. The Padres look good all year. The Phillies look good all year. But the second they get an opportunity to maybe make up some ground on some of these bigger name teams, the Mets, the Dodgers, some of these teams on higher payroll, as soon as those teams start to drop, now these teams that have looked good all year find a way to lose games. It's like they're finding ways to lose. So I guess my point is, for baseball, I don't know if it's better to have a division full of great teams or if it's better to have a division where there's a runaway winner. I think it's better to have a division full of great teams, but obviously you can't have every division be like that. You can't have every division be like the NL West or the AL East, for example. But my point in this is, look, it's baseball. There's 162 games. In football, it's a big deal if you're on a 4-game losing streak because it's a quarter of your season. In baseball, 4-game losing streak, it's baseball. It happens, right? You may lose. You might not win a game all week, and you could still finish with 98, 99, 100 wins because look at the Dodgers. They just lost 7 straight. And they go into San Francisco, big rivalry series, 3-game set. They take the series on the road. Those are the kinds of teams, as much as I hate to say it about the Dodgers, those are the kinds of teams that will win down the line. Because even when you can respond to that kind of adversity coming off the heels of a horrible losing skid and go into a rivalry series and win those games, those are the teams that are gritty, those are the teams that are tough, and those are the teams that are going to take these kind of playoff series, even if they lose the first 2 games.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Los Angeles Dodgers, I want to talk about one of the big reasons that they're skidding. It's not Shohei Ohtani, who's returned to pitching and has looked marvelous on both sides of the ball. The other day, he gave up a solo home run, comes up in the bottom half of the first inning and hits a 2-run home run. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, as much as I can probably hate the guy because his name is all over the place. He's doing fantastic things, and it's crazy to see somebody immediately come back up and get his own lead back.
You got to respect it. You got to respect it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go with the Dodgers here. And why are they scuffling? Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has by far his worst OPS and at batting average of his career. He's sitting at 238. It's 133rd in the league. And he's tied at 145th for worst OPS in the league. Now he's not worst OPS, but like, you know what I mean. His worst OPS as a major league hitter, 679. So Mookie Betts, I shouldn't have to say this. Mookie Betts is a key point and a key factor to the Dodgers' success. I don't think that needs to go without that needs to go without saying.
Yeah.
What does Mookie need to do to fix this? He's going back to Boston, so maybe something from his Boston days gets back into him. He sees some Fenway Franks. He sees the green monster out and left, and it comes back to him. What do they need to do to get Mookie going? Only 11 home runs on the year. Does he need to see a long ball or two to get going? Like, what is it that we need to see from Mookie Betts? And is that going to be a make or break for the Dodgers this year?
Yes, it is, because in my opinion, Mookie Betts is not only one of their best players, he is the focal point of that offense, because you look at this team who's been there for both championships. Mookie Betts, maybe a handful of other guys, because they've seen such an overhaul of talent, a plethora of talent and free agency come in every single year. So my point is, Mookie Betts is the leader of that team, regardless of how good he's playing or how good he is. If he was hitting 190, he would be Mr. Dodger. He'd be the face of that team, because that's just who he is. Everyone knows that's how he is as a teammate. That's how he is as a player. That's how he is as a competitor. But like you mentioned, the guy's hitting 238. That's about league average, and we're talking about one of the best hitters of our generation, not just.
We're talking about on average. Yeah, we're talking about somebody who's not average.
Who's not average. And my point with that is, I don't think there's anything Mookie Betts needs to do. I think Mookie Betts has been around long enough to know that there's not anything different Mookie Betts needs to do. Maybe you adjust your swing a bit. Maybe you tweak your swing, right? Even the best baseball players tweak their swings every couple years. Best golfers tweak their swings every couple years. Because look, at some point, if you're playing the same way for 20 years, pitchers find a hole in your swing. And I'm not saying that pitchers have found a hole in Mookie Betts' swing. What I'm saying is maybe Mookie Betts needs to make an adjustment because it gets in your head. It's the same thing with any sport. If you're shooting buckets and your free throw routine and you're missing free throws, you're going to blame your routine. So maybe Mookie Betts needs to blame his batting stance or something. But I don't think he needs to fix anything in particular. I just think he needs to get reps. Because look at it this way, Tristan. If you have a cold stretch at the end of a season for 81 games and a cold stretch at the beginning of the next season for 81 games, it's going to be a full stretch of a season where you're cold. But as long as you play well the rest of those 2 seasons, it's never going to show up in the box score. It's just because it's this whole season that Betts has been off. If he finishes these next 62 games, or I think they've played 100, so if he finishes the next 60 games hitting 290, he'll average out to 260 for the year. No one will even know he had a bad first half.
It's a fair point. It's a very fair point. I want to move on to probably the most boring division in baseball, even though it's got one of the better teams in it. I want to go to the AL Central. Let's focus on the Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Guardians, and the Royals, who are under 500 after being in the postseason last year. The Twinkies are going to be sellers. I think that's pretty solid. They have some arms that they could give away. Duran. You're probably looking at some of their other, later leverage pieces. I know Chance doesn't like to hear this, and Chance, if you're listening, buddy, I'm really sorry. But then you look at the Royals. I don't think anybody's really been, eyes on with the Royals of them being sellers because what do they have to sell? You still have a young core. It's kind of like the Baltimore Orioles. Don't sell anything. The only thing that can happen to you is that you get a year older, unless you're Salvador Perez. And then the Guardians. Then there's the Guardians. This one's tricky because now they're 8-2 ever since I thought that they were going to be. That's 10 games. 10 games ago, I thought this is a team that's selling. Now they're 8-2 in their last 10. And you look at the Tigers, who are 1-9 in their last 10. Tigers scuffling real bad.
Big time.
Speaking of the Tigers, Troy Melton made his debut. Young guy, 12 Ks. But I think he gave up like 6 runs to the Pirates.
Yeah.
Not what you want, as Joe
Not
Girardi
acceptable.
would- Joe
Not
Girardi would
acceptable.
say. But it's his major league debut.
It's the Pirates.
It's dumb. It's the difference between a AAA team and a major league team.
The Pirates lineup is a triple league,
No,
AAA team.
not.
It's a
Don't-
beer
no,
league
I would-
offense.
I would-
It is a
Okay, I
beer
would say
league
that
offense.
It's a quad A team. It's a quad A team. Don't disrespect
It is
like
a
that. It's still
beer
major
league
team.
offense. It is a beer
It's
league
still a major league
offense.
team. I still feel bad for Paul Skeens. I'll give you that. I feel bad for Paul Skeens. And the fact that his name is in trade deadline talk is insane to me. It's not actually going to happen. I think if you see Paul Skeens dealt, it's going to be during the offseason.
I think
But
it
it's
might.
crazy that we're sitting here like that. Anyway, let's get back to the AL Central. The Tigers are 1-9 in their last 10, and the only time that they win is Tyreek School days. Kind of like what the Pirates are with. The only times that they have any chance of winning is when Skeens is pitching. So the Tigers obviously aren't going to be sellers. They're going to be buyers, massive buyers.
As they should be.
And I think they will figure this out. I think the Tigers are too good to not figure it out. The Guardians, who are 8-2 and now 51-50, 8 games back in the AL Central. That's how good the Tigers were to start the year. They've been 1-9 and still have an 8-game lead. Should the Guardians be sellers? And if so, who do you want them to sell? And then we can talk about trade deadline.
For me, when you're floating around 500 and a week to go with the trade deadline, it really depends on how the next week goes. It really does, and that's the great thing about the trade deadline is most of the deals happen the day up.
Hold on. Let me stop you. Screw the whole next week. Right now, the trade deadline is today.
It's tonight.
What are you telling me? What's going on with the Guardians?
If I am the general manager of the Cleveland Guardians, and the trade deadline is right now, 8:51 p.m. Greek time, I am getting on the phone and I am seeing what teams want for everybody not named Jose Ramirez. Because
really, so Jose Ramirez isn't on the table for you with this contract? Somebody called into a radio talk show that I listen to, New York talk show. So obviously, you probably need to smoke a little to understand what people are talking about when it comes to New York sports radio. But And somebody said that the Yankees should go out and trade for Jose Ramirez. And I spit out the
somebody's an
coffee.
idiot.
I was like, who the fuck in their right mind would list Jose Ramirez as a trade, possibility? Who in their right fucking mind? And if they do, they're smoking all kinds of crap. A more reasonable name to me would be their closer, Emmanuel Clase. But I'll let you finish your point.
And because he's underperformed. And I'll tell you this. The reason Jose Ramirez is not on the table, if I am the Cleveland Guardians general manager, is because he's still somewhat young. He's not crazy old. He is a perennial MVP contender. He's a good third baseman. And look, your team's not awful. You're 500. You're a game above 500. If I'm the Cleveland Guardians general manager, I'm not committing to being a seller. I am looking at what I can get. And I think if you can get a lot for a guy like Steven Kwan, shout out Los Gatos, California native, then you're going to trade him. If you can get a lot for a guy like Hunter Gaddis, if you can get a lot for a guy like Emmanuel Clase, especially with the way he's performed in the ninth inning this year, then you need to ship them off. Because even if you make the playoffs, the Cleveland Guardians, if you scratch your way in, it's more the same the last couple of years. Cleveland Guardians, it's Cleveland. You're not going to get all this talent free agency. You need to home grow your talent. So trade for some prospects now. So to answer the question, if I have to answer one way or the other, seller right now.
Okay. The Cleveland Guardians aren't currently losing to the Baltimore Orioles in the bottom of the third inning in Cleveland 3-1. So.
If you lose to the Orioles in 2025, you blow it up.
And again, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a blow it up situation. I think you try again next year. You were just in the playoffs. You were just in the ALCS. You're a couple games away, from maybe a ball bouncing your way in the Yankees infield that is abysmal.
The ball bounces all over the place in the Yankees infield, I'll tell you that.
Abysmal. It's embarrassing. You were a couple balls bouncing away and an Anthony Volpe overthrow every now and then from being in the World Series and probably losing to the Dodgers in 4 games. And I'm not gonna lie, if I'm a Cleveland sports fan, I kind of take that. I'm probably rude to say, but you do. And you're probably not going to be in the postseason this year, but you don't have to blow it up.
So Tristan,
trade a big one.
Speaking of that Yankees infield, if you don't mind us moving on, I want to ask our resident Yankees fan. Look, your 2 third basemen right now, Oswald Peraza and Yorbit Vivas, hitting a combined 152 on the season. Not acceptable. Tristan, do you think the Yankees need to make a move for a third baseman this week?
Yes, without a question. And the number one trade target that everybody's highlighting, you circle this, you look at that guy, is Eugenio Suarez. Going into the season, I listed him, but I thought guy from the Angels, help me, Luis Rengifo was going to be the guy that they go after, switch hitting, but he's underperformed this year, and he's, it's the Angels. So I'm sitting here thinking,
it's the Angels, he says.
I'm going to go off on a tangent if you don't mind. I'm sitting here thinking, and Eugenio Suarez, man, he had a fantastic week last week. 4 home runs in 2 games, 2 multi-home run games, batting like a fucking 1,000 almost. But then you look at his defensive metrics, and they're ass. Terrible. Bottom of the barrel. What has been the one problem with the Yankees? It ain't been hitting.
Not the hitting.
Surprisingly. It's surprisingly not been the hitting. The hitting's there. Sure, they'll have their days of a 1 or a 2-run or no-run contest.
Everyone does.
Happens. It's baseball. The hitting problem doesn't come until the postseason. So right now, the hitting isn't the problem. It's the fact that they can't. Nothing is routine towards the left side of the infield. And even Jazz Chisholm committed an error at second yesterday. Had 4 errors yesterday against the Blue Jays in that loss.
Not acceptable.
They tied it, and I'm like, listen, they're hitting fine. But at that point, they were losing 4-2, and then like, you get into your Yankee mindset. You're like, that's probably a game, man. Then Aaron Judge hits a 2-run homer, tie game. I'm like, okay, you know what? They actually hit. So I need to get that out of my mind as the classic Yankee fan. It's defense and bullpen.
Yep.
That have been the Yankees' kryptonite this entire season. And I cannot stress this enough. I know I've already said it once. Look, every Yankee fan that does tune into this, you're thinking, oh my God, look how fucking ass this team is. No one else is this ass. I can't not believe. Yankees have their own problems, and yes, they are fundamental, but look everywhere else. Everywhere else is scuffling besides maybe like Milwaukee, Toronto, everyone else. This is a problem around baseball. We had a 7-game lead. It's now a 5-game lead for Toronto, and Toronto's fucking clowning our asses. This is happening all around baseball. So who's to say that right after the trade deadline, it's Toronto's turn to scuffle? Who knows?
So what's your
Toronto
solution?
Toronto was looking at like being like a seller to now they're going to be buyers. So what's my solution? Is obviously you have to patch up your third base. Because if you can't patch up Anthony Volpe, and they're not going to move on from Anthony Volpe, there's no way in hell when they have a very talented shortstop waiting for them in the minor leagues in George Lombard Jr., unless he gets traded. There's no way that you're going to trade Anthony Volpe right now. So you have to have something sure on the left side of the field. You look at Brian Cashman over the last 5, 6, 7 years. All he's done, every time you look around, he worries about the lineup, which I get. They hit poorly in the postseason, but he sacrifices defense in turn. They didn't have a left fielder, like a left fielder on the metrics chart for 5 years. They just stuck somebody out there and hoped they could play left field. Isaiah Connor Falefa was taking reps in the outfield for the Yankees.
My gosh.
A couple years ago. Okay? They finally got a left fielder last year in Alex Verdugo. And guess what? We're back with Jason Dominguez in the left field, who was brought up as a center fielder. If you're an outfielder, they'll stick you wherever. That's the Yankees. And now we don't have a third baseman. Oh, it'll be Josh Chisholm. We can't do that. All right, DJ LeMahieu. Oh, wow, he's really ass. Designate him for assignment. Hopefully one of these kids can play, third base. Fuck it. No, you need a sure thing. And there's not a sure thing anywhere to the left of the Yankees.
Well, let me tell you this.
Watch a game.
Let me tell you this, Tristan. Of all the positions in baseball, third base is not a fuck it position. Third base is the captain of the defense, except for maybe shortstop.
It's the hot corner. They call it the fucking hot corner for
and your third baseman. Like your third baseman this year are hitting 152, except for Jazz Chisholm. Your current 2 third basemen who are taking platoon reps are hitting 152, and the Yankees' fielding percentage is 21st in the league, 10th most errors.
That's where I want to focus more, because this was brought up on the Michael Kay show. Again, listen to New York sports talk way too much. You're not going to have a sure thing. This isn't the 80s, the 90s, or the early 2000s. You cannot have a sure thing. You don't have unlimited money. Everybody else has money now, too.
Yeah.
So you take off the hat of, we're the Yankees, buy whoever we want. No, that's not a thing anymore. Look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers are doing it right now. And right now, yes, they have a huge lead in the NL West and are probably going to win another World Series, but nothing for sure.
Stop. Do not say that.
You can't have – my point is you can't have a for sure thing at every position in today's age of baseball anymore. You can't. You can't. You can't have a guy like Aaron Judge everywhere that is a tremendous defender and hits for power and average. You just can't. You're going to have to sacrifice some things. But they have sacrificed too much. You can't have – I'll tell you what you can't have. You can't have ass on both hands. And with Anthony Volpe, the thing about him was he wasn't the best hitter. He would hit 250, but he would give you gold glove defense. And now it's not there.
He was a gold glover.
Let me get back to my third base talk. What do we do to solve it? Eugenio Suarez will 100% give you some offense. He will. But he's a streaky hitter, kind of like Giancarlo Stanton. So do you want to risk that going into the postseason? No. If I'm the Yankees, I don't look for an offensive-minded third baseman. I look for a defensive-minded third baseman that can give you 240, 250, 260 hitting. And you know what that is? That's Austin Riley. If I'm the Yankees, I call the Braves about Austin Riley. Because now they have a kid, Nacho Alvarez, that has been playing really fucking well over there at third base. I just saw him play. He was playing against the Yankees. He made some stupendous plays against the Yankees. Looks really good. Whether it translates with the bat or not, we'll have to see. He's still young. Austin Riley has been a sure thing with the bat. He's had years where you think he might win an MVP. It doesn't come to happen because there's so many other great talents like Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani in the league, and it just hasn't happened for him. But Austin Riley has been such a sure thing for the Braves, and I know he's a fan favorite, and I know there's some Braves fans watching this be like, oh, hell no, that better not happen. I want him back. He's also coming off of an injury. So my whole thing with the Yankees is get you a sure thing defensively and something that can be okay with the bat, and that's Austin Riley coming off of an injury. That's what I do if I'm the Yankees. I call the Braves about Austin Riley. And I know there are some that would be like, but I didn't even think of that. Again, and I think they're going to end up getting Eugenio Suarez, and we'll talk about trade deadline here in a minute. But the defensive metrics just stand out to me. You get Eugenio Suarez, great. You have a fantastic bat in your lineup that's streaky. You don't have a sure thing defensively. There's still a hole. There's still a massive hole on the left side of the infield. So I'm interested to know, what do you think their solution be?
Well, look, I mean, Tristan, my criteria for the Yankees right now is the same as yours. I don't think the bat has to be fantastic. I mean, I think Austin Riley has a good bat when he's healthy. But I don't think the bat needs to be fantastic because it's got to be better than 152. I mean, that is just not acceptable.
That's what I'm saying.
My criteria for this, given the fact that the Yankees are 10th in the league in errors, here's my criteria. I need a guy who's going to make the diving play. I need a guy who's going to make the crazy throw if I'm the Yankees at third base, especially because the outfield has been okay. The infield has been disastrous. Okay? Disastrous. So right now, who I'm looking at is someone that we talked about before the season even started, who's a 6-time Platinum Glover, a 10-time Gold Glover, and a St. Louis Cardinal, and in my heart, always a Colorado Rocky, and that's Nolan Arenado. This is a guy who we talked about who has a hell of a contract, albeit.
Yeah.
That I will own. He has a hell of a contract. But this is one of the greatest fielding third basemen of all time. 10 Gold Gloves, 6 Platinum Gloves, which is basically equivalent to Defensive Player of the Year if you're not familiar with how the baseball awards work. Yeah, he's hitting 241. That's 90 points higher than the Yankees' platoon third basemen are hitting right now. Sure, he's got a 299 OBP. That's alarming. I will say that incredibly alarming. 299 OBP is not nearly high enough. But solid power, 10 homers. He's shown for a decade that he can hit the ball out of the yard, especially at Yankee Stadium. I think he could push the ball to right field. But look, this is a team that needs not only fielding on the infield, but maturity on the infield across from Paul Goldschmidt, who also has a rapport with Nolan Arenado. So these guys know how to play together. Nolan Arenado's been throwing across the diamond to Paul Goldschmidt for the last 5 years on the Cardinals. So in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people are thinking about this, and I like the Austin Riley move as well. But Nolan Arenado is a no-brainer for the Yankees, if you ask me. No-brainer, despite the contract. Who gives a damn?
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset about it. Again, you need a sure thing defensively, and that was something that they were thinking about during the offseason, going into spring training. Was, do we go out and get a trade for Nolan Arenado and completing the plan B of it all? It's interesting. Again, you look at that contract. It's not the sexiest. You're not wrong.
No.
I would definitely much prefer. I think for me, my tier list is Austin Riley, Eugenio Suarez, Nolan Arenado.
And let me tell you too, Tristan,
and maybe Ryan McMahon. But like
that contract,
that contract is.
It's not going to get any better either.
No, he's going to have more money coming off the books next year.
But he's only going to be older, is my point, and maybe the glove deteriorates a bit. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Great move for this year. Is it a great move for the next 4? I don't know.
We'll see. All right. I know you had a segment that you really wanted to do. So we can get into that now if you would like.
Look, Tristan, I think you and I need to build a lineup. It's been a while since we've done this. We built a lineup with awards earlier before we were with Makosh. Shout out Jason and RG at Makosh for taking us on. If you like what you're seeing on Makosh, like Tristan said, make sure you hit subscribe because it's not just us at the Hitting Cage. We know you love us, but Makosh has plenty of other content as well that you need to check out. So, with that being said, the Orioles have made it very clear that they're going to sell at the trade deadline. Their general manager has even said so. So, Tristan, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you 9 players. 2 of them are Baltimore Orioles. And I want you to tell me, will this player get traded or will they not? And if yes, where are they going? So we're going to build a trade deadline lineup, 9 players. We're both going to give our predictions. 2 of them are Baltimore Orioles, but we're going to cover a lot more teams as well. So let's get this started. You ready?
I'm prepared.
I don't know. I don't think you can ever be ready for me, Tristan. I think I catch you off guard quite a bit.
All right. That's an insult to me. I'm taking that to heart.
All right, Tristan, let's do this thing. First guy up. Luis Robert Jr. of the Chicago White Sox. So washed, but what do you think happens with Luis Robert Jr.?
He's been really scuffling up until the All-Star break, and then he started to kind of figure it out. And I know he's had a lot of scouts at his games, at these White Sox games, and I feel bad for those scouts having to attend Chicago White Sox games. I really truthfully do, even if it's for free. Career worst 206 batting average with 10 home runs and 40 RBIs. But like I said, he's shown some signs of life. In the last 10 games, I want to say he's batted 364, something like that. Don't hold me to that number. I believe it's somewhere around that ballpark. Listen, this was a kid that was supposedly a big, bright star coming up for the White Sox. And unfortunately for him, he is a White Sox. So that's probably one of the huge reasons that he's had such a drop-off, because who cares, truthfully, on the White Sox right now? Unfortunately, I don't see him being dealt. I just don't. And I don't think it's that the White Sox are reluctant to do it. I think that nobody's really going to pick up the phone because there's better options. Excuse me, that's so disgusting of me. I think there's better options out there than a Luis Robert Jr. right now, and I think one of them that we're going to bring up is a Baltimore Oriole. So that is my official prediction, and you can give yours. I think Luis Robert stays a White Sox just because the market's saturated. Not saturated, but there's better production elsewhere. So I don't think anybody's going to take a chance on him.
I don't want to disagree with you, but unfortunately, I think there are teams out there stupid enough to make this move. And if he weren't to be traded, I believe it would be because of the I don't know how to say nicely, character issues that he's kind of demonstrated towards the White Sox organization. He said earlier this season basically that he wants to be traded, but he feels like he's lost that opportunity because of how bad he has played. And he said that he seemed to think that was pretty unfortunate that he won't be getting traded. So I don't know if anyone wants to trade for a guy who's saying stuff like that. The talent's there with Luis Robert Jr. A couple seasons ago, well over 100 RBIs, 38 home runs, was an all-star, participated in the home run derby. So this one's difficult for me. This is a guy who we know can swing the bat. But there's a lot of one-off seasons in MLB history, and I believe that this is going to be one of them. However, I do believe that the New York Mets are stupid enough to trade for Luis Robert Jr.
See, I have them making a different move, and we'll say that. We'll say that as we go. Continue.
I think that the New York Mets are dumb enough to make this move because of how bad defensively their outfield is. Mm-hmm. Juan Soto's horrible in right field. I'm sorry. He is absolutely awful in the field. And Luis Robert Jr., while not the best, is a solid fielder. I saw him make a crazy catch a couple days ago in center field. Left center, made a diving catch. But yeah, I think Luis Robert Jr. goes to the Mets. I think that they're dumb enough to make this move. And I think that no matter what they give up, they'll be getting ripped off. But for Luis Robert Jr., if you're giving up more than
that's the trade deadline.
If you're giving up more than a top 15 prospect, you're getting ripped.
But no matter how you slice it, you're gonna be getting ripped off. I mean, because of Eugenio Suarez's insane week this past week, it's gonna take for the Yankees their top two prospects, maybe their top three, to try and get him, like Spencer Jones and possibly George Lombard Jr. and maybe a pitching prospect. Even though they have the Diamondbacks have urged that they just want pitching in return, you're going to have to give up. It's the trade deadline.
Yeah.
If you want to win now, you're going to have to part with future pieces. And we talked about Spencer Jones. Spencer Jones just hit 3 home runs in a game. Yesterday's price is not the same price if you're the Yankees.
No, it shouldn't
be. So that's going to be interesting. You have one guy who hit 4 home runs in 2 games, and then you have a kid who's in AAA that hit 3 home runs and is slashing in a ridiculous number. I'll get it for you later on. A ridiculous number right now in Spencer Jones, and you got to think, where do you call it? Where is your
what's your cutoff?
He's untouchable. That's So it's interesting to see. That's the trade deadline. You have to overpay if you want to win. That's how people.
I love that point. You're never going to, unless it's a case like Rafael Devers, not to be biased, where there's big personality issues. You're never going to get a steal from a team who's trying to sell because they're going to want to get assets. Mm-hmm. Let's hop into the next guy. One of those Orioles that we were talking about, Mr. Ryan O'Hearn, the first baseman. Tristan, does Ryan O'Hearn get traded? First-time All-Star this year. Value's high.
Yes, you are correct. First-time All-Star this year for Ryan O'Hearn. Congratulations to him. Do the Orioles move on, and would they have something to put there in the meantime, until the season's over, for Ryan O'Hearn? I hate it. I really, really do. But I'm going to stay with the no. I think Ryan O'Hearn, remains an Oriole. This kid was a pick in 2022. This is another kid to me. So, you have to see him, what else can he give you?
You got to see it through.
As a Baltimore Oriole. You got to see that through. That's like saying that you're ready to give up on Gunnar Henderson. That's like should we trade Adley Rutschman? No, that to me, as he's not in those same category. He's not in that same category, even though everybody's kind of had it down here on the Orioles. But that's another guy that I still have to see that through the rest of the season. It's going to be a big name, and you know what? He very well could get traded. And then you know what? If he does, call me out, call me an idiot. That's fine. That's great.
I'll do that anyway. Tristan. You know this.
Exactly. You know what? And you're such an asshole.
I'll find a reason to call you an idiot.
You're not my friend. You know that? You're just a bad guy.
But I am your partner and your pal.
I am going to say no for now. I'm going to say he remains an Oriole. I think there's better. I don't think anybody is desperate for a first baseman right now. And if they are, they would probably just make him a DH.
Well, here's what I'm going to say.
Go, no.
Tristan says no, and as I always love to do on this podcast, where we're loved by all, listened to by a few, and sponsored by absolutely none, I will disagree with you, as I always love to do. Ryan O'Hearn will be traded because his value is sky high. He's young. He's a first-time All-Star. His value, in my opinion, will never be higher than it is right now. And I think the Seattle Mariners
I think that's
will
why
make
you
this
got to
trade.
see it through. I think that's why you got to see it through.
I think you could take it one of two ways. I think you could take it
because
as...
Yes, you have a fair point. He just made an All-Star. His value is at an all-time high, but that would scare me. I mean, he's at an all-time high. Let's see if we can tap into more of this. It's the first-time All-Star.
I agree. Here's the thing. That's why it's a slippery slope, because you could think of it that way, or you could think of it as there's two ways. Either way, I don't think it is faulted thinking. I think you can say, this guy's a first-time All-Star. Let's ship him off and get everything we can because of recency bias. Or you can say, this guy's a first-time All-Star. He might be a 10-time All-Star in 12 years. But how are you supposed to know what's going to happen? So I think he does get traded.
No one has a crystal ball.
I think he goes to the Seattle Mariners because look at their first base depth right now.
Yeah.
Luke Raley and Donovan Solano on a team that's trying to compete in the AL West, one of the best divisions in baseball. Going to the Mariners. No brainer.
Could you not see him as a Houston Astro? Because that was the one that I was teetering on. You maybe move Christian Walker around.
But where do you move Christian Walker? DH?
Yeah.
Then where's Jordan Alvarez?
You keep Jordan on the DH. I'm sorry.
You can put Walker in left.
You could see him in left. I could see him not at third. He could go to third though. He has played that before. You could see him as a rotating DH too. Maybe
I could see O'Hearn. I could see O'Hearn in right.
Yeah. You could keep a day or two off of Jordan's feet like the Yankees have been doing with Belly, Goldschmidt, and Stanton. One of them gets a day off their feet. That could be a rotating position for them as well for the Astros. I mean, the Astros have a 6-game lead. The Mariners are supposedly going to be this great thing, have all some of the best pitching you've ever seen, yet are 6 games back. So I could definitely see it for the Mariners. But because the Mariners are not interested, I could totally see the Astros going out to do it, just that the Mariners can't.
And I think you could put O'Hearn in right field occasionally.
Exactly. But I'm still going with he's staying an Oriole.
Gotcha.
But if it were to happen, I could see a Mariner. I could see an Astro.
All right, moving on. We're going to go with another Ryan. Ryan McMahon. Tristan, where does Ryan McMahon go? Because he's going somewhere. He's a Rocky.
This one's a bit of a tough one. Because like you said, he is a Rocky. This is where I have the Mariners making a splash. Right there. I think the Mariners trade for Ryan McMahon.
You gotta be kidding me.
30-year-old He's a 30-year-old, and he's not going to bring the power that Eugenio Suarez would be. but he's younger. I think he's got a fantastic glove, unlike Eugenio Suarez. Let's see, what is he slashing? Give me a second. Dating back.
I can't believe
back
this.
to like the beginning of May. 249, 333, 478 with 14 home runs.
Tristan,
I think that's what I think the Mariners could use a Ryan McMahon.
I think what's so funny to this about this for me, pardon me, is that I have going to the Astros, so we flipped.
So we flipped.
But I want to hear, what do you think makes McMahon a good fit for this Mariners team?
The glove. It's the glove. I think like I said, this was like fourth on my tier list if the Yankees wanted to go out and get somebody. He was in trade rumors last year when the Yankees were thinking about adding an infield position. You were thinking about Ryan McMahon. It's his glove and the fact that sometimes he can be consistent with that bat. Like 249, it's league average. It's kind of pathetic, but it's league average in today's MLB. But he's not as complete as a player as Nolan Arenado.
He was never going to be.
Your guy Matt Chapman, but this is a decent. The Rockies ain't going to ask for much for Ryan McMahon, so fuck it, why not? It makes your team a little bit better. You can still coast into probably a wild card spot, which I think the Mariners very well could do. I don't think the Mariners, if you're the Mariners, you're obviously trying to win the division. You're trying to do everything you can. Of
course.
But I don't think they can. So you're trying to get into a wild card spot. And I think that this will solidify that. This will make sure that you have the depth in the infield and a consistent enough glove that if he doesn't start, you can put him in for defense late in the games. Or whenever you see the Astros, you have someone that can make sure that the balls down the line are not getting through. So I think this is a decent addition maybe to either catch the Astros or solidify the fact that you're going to be a wild card team. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate the pick. I just hate that we flipped. I mean, we can never agree on anything. But look, I think Ryan McMahon makes a good fit for the Houston Astros because I see a problem at third base for the Astros ever since you lose Alex Bregman. I mean, the rest of that infield looks fine. You got, Jeremy Pena, you got Isaac Paredes, you got Christian Walker, sure, but look, this is a team that needs a third baseman, and I think that Ryan McMahon can slide in really well. There's not much to talk about because, like you said, at the end of the day, how good can he really be? He's a Rocky. He's a marginally above league average hitter. He looks great because he's on a horrible team, but this is a solid player. This is a good 8-hole everyday bat.
Yep, exactly.
But he would be a starter, in my opinion, somewhere in the infield on every single team, and that's what makes him valuable. Yeah.
And like I said, it could be a rotating kind of thing. It could be something that, you go with an offensive heavy lineup, maybe if you're the Mariners, even though they aren't an offensive heavy team. And maybe it's somebody that you bring in for defense later on. I mean, obviously, I think he starts for the Mariners, but who knows?
Absolutely. Tristan, moving on. I want to talk about one of the more interesting names at this trade deadline who has been an absolute dumpster fire this season. Another guy like Luis Robert Jr., but he's on the mound. Sandy Alcantara. Tristan, does Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins get moved, and where?
Okay. This is a guy that's come up in the last, 2-3 trade deadlines of do we trade this kid? He's good and then he's bad. He's good and then he's bad. But then there's always the thing of there's an untapped potential there. I swear there is. And he's just rotting in Miami. And that's the only reason that, he's not the arm that he should be. Yes, he does. And this makes me now have to talk about a different team before I can go back and talk about Sandy Alcantara.
Do it.
The Padres. The Padres have already put themselves out there as a smart organization, even though they're not the best at spending the money, because they always had money problems with their owners. But they have listed themselves as buyers and sellers. They're in they're in second or third in the NL West. That's your division. You should tell me.
They are second place. They are second place.
Okay. This is a team that, again, is 8 games back of the Dodgers?
Yes. No. The Padres are, I believe they are 3.5. The Giants are 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's not as bad as I thought. Anyway, this is a team that is listed themselves as a buyer and seller. And here's what I think happens. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take another name off of your list because I know that this guy is coming. Dylan Cease is getting traded. I'm not going to say where because we'll cover it later.
We'll get there. He is there.
Dylan's. I know ball. Dylan Cease will probably get traded. I actually think that he's going to get traded. A lot of people don't think it because they're not really listening. But I think if you trade Dylan Cease, you're going to get Sandy Alcantara. And Sandy Alcantara, again, has a lot of untapped potential to me. I think one of the main reasons is that he's struggling is because he's in a failing ball club. No doubt. Miami Marlins don't turn heads. So Cease is earning $13.75 million, and Alcantara is earning $17 million this season. So obviously you probably would be paying more money, but there's a chance it's a younger player, and there's a chance for more potential than what Dylan Cease is right now. So that's why I say that if I was the Padres, I don't know if I'd make that move, but it's certainly a move that could be made. You get rid of Dylan Cease and bring in Sandy Alcantara, who's got an electric sinker. So we'll see. But that's my answer.
I mean, I don't hate the answer. I think the Padres could make a move for a young pitcher like that because the Padres have pitching. They have good pitching. They have Michael King, right? They have these guys, so they don't. So they don't necessarily need Alcantara to work out because once you get to the postseason, you really just need 3 guys, and the San Diego Padres have that. But for me, I don't think Sandy Alcantara does get traded because look, Tristan, this was a guy who a couple years ago, 2022 and 2023, we're talking about when is this guy going to win a Cy Young? I'm being 100% serious. This was a guy who was touted as one of the best pitching prospects, best young pitchers in the game of baseball, in our beloved game. And now the guy's sporting a 7.5 ERA. I mean, what the hell could have possibly happened? And I think part of it, Tristan, is because that's exactly right. Is because he is rotting away in South Florida. That is a problem for anybody.
So excited every year, trade deadline time. They're like, oh, finally, there's going to be a change of scene for me. I'm going to have a good, pitching coach, someone that can help me figure this stuff out. And he's bummed. He's just like, you know what?
Perpetually disappointed.
Anymore, I don't care anymore. Like I'm Sandy Alcantara. I'm good, but I'm not going to bother to show it. And you can tell me. I know someone is going to probably comment and be like, dude, you're stupid. You don't think everybody's giving their all. I know. Not everyone's giving their all.
I know for a fact not everyone's giving their all.
Fact. And you know what? Maybe it is a fundamental issue or a technique issue with Sandy Alcantara, but I truly think that there's going to be somebody out there that's looking at the TV like a Matt Blake with the Yankees that is watching your TV like, I can fix that. That's so small and fundamental. That's just in your technique.
Well, the weapons are there for Alcantara. He's got the break. He's got the velocity. That's what I'm saying. This guy somewhere down there's a good pitcher, and we've seen it. But it's discouraging for him because he plays for the Marlins. It's hard to get that uniform on. It is. It just is. I don't think Sandy Alcantara gets traded though, Tristan, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're the Miami Marlins, would you see what this guy is capable of? Not trade him and then sell low 2 years later. Would you do that? I wouldn't.
I think it was the whole thing, like I was saying earlier, with you're scared with like Ryan O'Hearn of untapped potential, and maybe you see this kid, he gets to the futures game, he has his name and all-star talk, and they were worried that maybe we probably want to hang on to that just in case we actually do have something waiting for us in our minor league with the Marlins. They had a year there where they made the playoffs and they had a hot run with Jazz Chisholm, and they were like, maybe they were going to be a lot better a lot sooner. But so they waited, and nothing has come of it, and now they're just rotting. So that could be a potential why that's happened. Like you said, it's been 2 years since his name has been in trade deadline talks. Every year it seems like it is. So maybe that's why they waited. And I'm not going to lie, if you're the Marlins, you should probably pull the trigger. Who knows if they do? They probably actually won't, but they should.
Absolutely. Tristan, we do got to breeze through these last couple of names because we are running out of time on this great episode of our great podcast. So next one up, Dylan Cease. You mentioned him. He's on the list. Does Dylan Cease get traded anyway?
Dylan Cease. I do think Dylan Cease gets traded. There's a lot that would have to happen, like I said, for that to happen. But I could totally see the Blue Jays going out and getting him. The Blue Jays are interested in a lot of other arms like Mitch Keller as well. I know that we're going to talk about him too. So it's interesting. I'm gonna give him two. I'm gonna give two spots, and we'll even have to list that in the graphic. It depends on what the Blue Jays choose. If the Blue Jays go for Mitch Keller, then obviously Dylan Cease is going to be a Blue Jay. But if they do get Dylan Cease, then Mitch Keller will end up somewhere else. But I'm going to say for now that I think Dylan Cease will probably be a Blue Jay, and Mitch Keller might end up somewhere else. But I'm going to go with Dylan Cease maybe being a Blue Jay. I know the Yankees checked in on Dylan Cease too. So, but I'm going to go Blue Jay, and it's going to be a swoop in last second, like what the fuck, kind of thing. Situation.
For me, look, Dylan Cease, good player. I just don't think it's working out on the Padres. I'm going to actually go with what you said. I'm going to say the Yankees for Dylan Cease. I think this is a team that's really hurt pitching-wise right now. You know that better than I do, my friend. This is a team that needs pitching. I'm going to go Dylan Cease to the Yankees. Tristan, the next name on this list, you keep reading my mind, is Mitch Keller. Where does Mitch Keller end up?
This is a hard one, man. I think... I'm changing my answer. I'm going back on my Dylan Cease pick. I'm going to agree with you with the Yankees. I'm doing it. I don't care. You can be mad at me. You can call me a fraud. Call me an idiot. I don't care. I'm having inner.
He knows I'm smarter than he is, and he likes to copy all my answers all the time. This is not the first time it's happened.
I already told you that it's either one way and the other guy goes that way, or this guy goes that way and the other guy goes that way. So I don't know.
But then he lies about it. He lies about what he said on future episodes. He's gonna lie. He's gonna say, I said Dylan Cease to the Blue Jays the whole time.
Mitch Keller, I'll kill two birds with one stone. Mitch Keller will be the Blue Jay, and Dylan Cease will be the Yankee.
I agree.
There's my final answer. And I don't think the Yankees – I thought for the longest time that maybe the Yankees get Eugenio Suarez and a pitcher from the Diamondbacks for their haul. But I think now the price is so high on Eugenio Suarez that he's going to end up just as a one-off. And it might just be one guy for a plethora of guys. So I will say Dylan Cease is going to be a Yankee. And let's go ahead and knock off Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller will be a Blue Jay.
Looks like you and I are agreeing again. Mitch Keller will be a Blue Jay. I feel bad for Mitch Keller. The guy has a well below 4 ERA, and he is 4-10. He's a quintessential Pittsburgh Pirate. He's been a really solid pitcher for years, but it's time for them to get assets. They said they're not willing to trade O'Neal Cruz. They said they're not willing to trade Paul Skeens, but they did not include Mitch Keller in their untouchables list. Mitch Keller to the Blue Jays. Blue Jays need pitching. Their hitting is getting hot, but they are giving up runs. So Mitch Keller to the Blue Jays, I feel, is a good move. Look at that. Cleveland right back in it. Tristan, the next name on this list is a Texas Ranger World Series hero, Adolis Garcia.
Yeah. Okay. This is going to be a interesting, hard one. You said the Mets earlier. That's where he's going. He's going to the Mets. Mets need something in the outfield. They can take a DH as well. I think that's one of the main things with the Mets is they don't have timely hitting, and this is a guy that's been there, done that, and won a World Series down here in Texas, which I'm going to go see him tomorrow. So, maybe if I somehow get on the field, I'll go ask him, do you want to be a Met? Because that's where I think he's going to go. I think that this is somebody that has been there, done that. And like you said, right field ain't the best defensively, and he's not the best defender, but he's got to be better than a Juan Soto, right? He's better than a Juan Soto in right. So maybe you can make Juan Soto your DH and tell whoever's DHing that day to go scratch themselves. And I think that's where I think if you're the Mets, you might want to pull the trigger on him or another Oriole if you're the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to that other Oriole right after this, but I'm going to say Adolis Garcia to the San Francisco Giants, just because that right field position for the Giants is absolutely putrid right now. Mike Yastrzemski is doing Mike Yastrzemski things. Luis Matos, who was once one of their top prospects, just has not gotten it going. A lot of people on Instagram are saying that he is the first ever zero-tool player, which I think is a bit harsh. But look, regardless of whether or not that's true, the Giants don't have a solid right fielder, and if they want to have any chance at winning some postseason games, no matter how good that 1-2-3 punch of Webb, Ray, and Landon Roop is, they are going to need some hitting, and Adolis Garcia, like you said, certainly knows how to hit in the biggest spots. So I'm going to say Adolis Garcia to the San Francisco Giants. Tristan, you mentioned another Oriole. The next name on this list is Cedric Mullins. Where does he go?
Cedric Mullins is going to be a Philly. You look at their center field position. You look at Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas. This is what it's getting. They're getting 237, 299, 321. That's your slash line from those two guys out in the center field for the Phillies. I could totally see this. I could totally see Cedric being a Met. Totally could. But I think the Mets are probably going to go for more of a power bat than a sure thing in right field. Now, if the Mets are more worried about defense in right, they will pull the trigger on Cedric Mullins. That way, maybe they can slide him in center and slide whoever's in center over to right. But I honestly think that the Phillies are going to be more aggressive because they are chasing. Even though they're a half game back, they're chasing. So I could totally see Cedric Mullins being between a Met or a Philly, but I'm going to go with Phillies.
Tristan, you and I are going to agree again. Look at us getting along so well as never before. I think, look, this is a great fit. Brandon Marsh, a bit past his prime. I think he's had some good years with the Angels and with the Phillies. I think this was a good trade at the time. I'm not opposed, if you're the Phillies, to moving Trey Turner into center field. I'm not opposed to putting Bryce Harper in center field. But next to guys in the outfield like Castellanos and Kepler, it's a rough outfield already, so you want to get a guy out there with a good glove.
I don't know if you want to put Bryce back in the outfield. I think you want to keep him at first now. He's, you just don't want to get him injured. I think
it's less tread on his body.
That's what you do with all your outfield big sluggers. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Judge is a first baseman in 2-3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cedric Mullins is to Philadelphia is the right move. I think he needs a change of scenery. I think we know he can be a really solid contact and maybe 22-homer power bat, but he just needs a fresh scene, man. I think he's said to reporters that he really wants to stay in Baltimore, but at the end of the day, sometimes what you need is just to go somewhere new. We're going to agree on this one. It's the Phillies for Cedric Mullins. For me and my partner, my pal Tristan, the last name on this list is someone that we've talked about a lot tonight. Eugenio Suarez. Where does Eugenio Suarez go?
Yeah. I wish I had my hat with me. It's a Yankee. He's a Yankee. And again, I'm not going to be upset with this. I really am not. And I really hope that Cash God pulls off his Cash God ways because, that's the thing. When you get in these trade deadline talks or these arbitration talks is you have to point out why he's not as valuable as he is, and it's his defense. The Yankees want a sure thing defensively on the left side of their infield, and they don't have that right now. And Eugenio Suarez wouldn't be that. So that's why I'm not super thrilled with it, but at the same time, look at his bat. Yes, he's a streaky hitter, but look at Giancarlo Stanton, who is a streaky hitter. He's been hitting the cover off the ball ever since he finally came back from his injury, whether it's singles, doubles, or homers. He's not fast, but he hits the ball hard, and so does Eugenio Suarez. I think he's going to take advantage of the fact that there's a short field to left and a short field to right. So I think that he is definitely the number one, guy on the Yankees list, according to every Yankee fan, every Yankee blog that I've ever read. It's Eugenio Suarez. It's just a matter of what are you willing to give up for him to win now. And if you're not convinced the fact that you are going to win now, because you look at the bullpen, you look at the defense, are you sure that you're going to even get back to the World Series right now?
I'm not.
But I think he is a Yankee. Again, he's my number 2 behind Austin Riley, but we haven't even seen Austin Riley's name brought up. Haven't even heard if anybody's checking in on him. So it's probably just going to be Eugenio Suarez is a Yankee. And you know what? I'll be happy. I'll be okay.
I don't hate the take moving back to our diamond discussion segment, but I'm going to disagree with you. I think, look, Eugenio Suarez is a good player. He's played for the Tigers, he's played for the Reds, and he's played for the Mariners previously, and I think he goes to one of those 3 teams. I think wherever he goes, it's going to be a reunion because they can all use a power bat at third base. The guy's got 36 homers, 86 RBIs.
Listen,
I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds.
Might be too high. His price might be too high for the Yankees. You think he goes to the Reds?
I think he goes to Cincinnati Reds. I think the Reds are hear me out. The Reds are hovering around 500 for the first time at a trade deadline in years.
This is so ridiculous.
They have one of the top infielders in the league, and they are going to want to compete. You can't just not compete forever and expect to keep Ellie De La Cruz. They're going to want to have to make a move soon, and I think that making that move, if Eugenio Suarez is at the right price, with the way that Hunter Green is pitching and the way that Ellie De La Cruz is swinging the bat, they're going to make this move. And RG, why are there balloons again? Why are there balloons again?
The Reds can't afford to go for Eugenio Suarez, nor should they.
Can the
Because
Yankees?
They're not going to be. The Yankees can barely do it. If the Yankees,
The Reds have better prospects than the
They're
Yankees.
going to have to give up. They're going to have to give up their top two, no matter where. Eugenio Suarez has driven his price up. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if the Reds are ready to win that. If you would have said someone like the Mets, the crosstown rival of the Yankees, yes, because their third base position has been
stop it.
horrible as
Mark
well.
Vientos. Mark Vientos is a solid player.
Offensively, no. Defensively, sure.
And you want to replace that when you have Juan Soto playing the outfield. You want to upgrade your defense by trading for Eugenio Suarez. Listen to yourself.
Said defense. I said his offense. His defense.
I know.
Good, but
but why would you want
offense more right now?
Juan Soto, Eugenio Suarez is not a good combo on defense. It's a guaranteed 2 errors a game.
Defense, but they're in two different areas of the field, Jack. It's not like
the Mets don't need offense. The Mets don't need offense.
The Mets need a little bit of
Lindor,
offense. The pitching is okay.
Alonso. The pitching is awful.
And look at how they've hit, The pitching has been their bright spot.
Recency bias.
The pitching is not good right now because they're injured.
They have the worst ERA in baseball starting staff in the last 2 months.
They're injured, Jack. They are injured. You get Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea back, they'll be better.
Clay Holmes is still crap.
That's Clay Holmes. That I won't argue with.
You were right. You were right about. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to rage bait you and do a rant about Clay Holmes. But Tristan, we are out of time. Why don't you take us out?
I want to give a quick shout out to the Milwaukee Brewers really quick. Jay King, I love you, man. I miss you, man. What a spectacular season they're having now, back up in first place.
Yes, absolutely. Sal Frelick.
It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame we weren't able to talk more about them. Hopefully, we get to them next episode if they can keep doing what they're doing.
They will.
But in the meantime, it's been a pleasure to talk ball. If you thought any of these takes were stupid or horrible, please let us know.
All of his are.
But if you agree with some of our takes, like most of mine, please let us know in the comments. Make sure you guys subscribe. Please follow Everything Makash. Follow us on YouTube. Follow The Hitting Cage on social media, Instagram, Twitter. And then follow me and Jack. Follow 88 Keys Management and our producer, Jason, who is doing Jason and our manager, RG, who are absolutely killing it for us over here on socials and on our live chat.
We love y'all.
We love you guys as well. We love the fans. Make sure you guys are following us, everything again. And Jack, what's the one thing that I usually tell you?
Tristan, what's that one thing you always say?
How can I forget?
It's always so good.
You stay funky and you stay fresh. And by golly, gosh darn it, we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take the sting higher. Take the sting higher. I'm a blower. You don't know what it takes. So you want to be great, but do you really know what the stakes? Do you know what it means to me? I keep running my race.
Aye, that's a good one.